Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Bat here. Hope you're doing well. So, this is obviously an interesting setup, and the reason for this setup today is this past Friday and Saturday was the anniversaries of both Infinity War and Endgame. Infinity War celebrated its 6th anniversary on Saturday, and Endgame celebrated its 5th anniversary on Friday. Yes, we are already 5 years since Avengers Endgame. So if you remember that scene in Avengers Endgame where they jumped 5 years later and we saw that dystopian looking world, well, I mean, we're not that far off from that. I mean, you know, just a year, almost a little bit over a year after Endgame came out, we had our own little dystopian, everything shut down world because of COVID. So, I mean, like I said, Thanos, he knew what he was doing. He gave us COVID. Fuck you. Um, anyway, so, but in all seriousness, I can't believe it's already been 5 years since we got Endgame. I went back over the weekend and watched both Infinity War and Endgame because you have to. If you watch one, you gotta watch the next one. I mean, originally this was supposed to be Part 1, Part 2. Infinity War Part 1, Infinity War Part 2. And then they decided, wait a minute, we're going to change the title of the second film to Endgame. Because that scene where Doctor Strange looks at Tony Stark in Infinity War and says, we're in the Endgame now. Right. Looking back on both of these movies, they are both great. They both hold up still extremely well, from the story to the acting to the visual effects. The visual effects, I gotta repeat that because for some reason Marvel, Disney, their CGI has gone backwards instead of forwards. And when you look at these movies, there is so much CGI and effects, and they still hold up. Yeah, each movie has one moment in each movie that the CGI is a little bit off. There's a scene in Infinity War where Thanos is walking up the stairs of the throne room that he's in, and you can tell something's a little bit off. And then in the Endgame, when Thor, Cap, and Iron Man are fighting Thanos in the final battle, it doesn't look more video game-like CGI, kind of like what we saw in Hulk and Abomination in The Incredible Hulk 10 years prior. But it's still hilarious. Both movies still have great humor, great action scenes, great character moments. Great character moments. I know a lot of people give Endgame a hard time because that first hour is all slow and character. I love that. Even going back and watching it again. I love the character moments. Whether it was between, Cap and Natasha. Whether it's, Scott Lang seeing his daughter again for the first time in 5 years. Whether it's, a number of them. Or Tony and Nebula on the ship in the beginning playing paper football. I mean, those are moments, and then there's more in the movie, like Thor and his mother, or Tony seeing his father again, and then Tony seeing Peter during the final battle. I mean, the movie has a lot of great character moments, and still the humor holds up. It's great. Infinity War, you got a lot of great moments. I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. um, I see you caught me my beard. Um, and then of course we got a lot of great fan moments in Endgame. Seeing Red Skull. Seeing, when Cap gets the hammer. Call back to Age of Ultron. And so on. Thanos being the best villain in the MCU. Um, you should have gone for the head. You could not live with your failure. That's why I brought you back to me. And then the music in both movies, great. I love the score. The ending of Infinity War, that was mind-blowing in the theater. And seeing Thanos win, and ending it on a win for the villain, was like... I think the only minor problem with that ending was we knew Spider-Man was returning. He just had his one movie out the year prior. He already had a new movie coming out the next year. Black Panther, we just got that first Black Panther movie that February. And it was a huge hit. Scarlet Witch is still fairly new. And so many others. And now, if they let one of the OG Avengers get dusted at the end of Infinity War, that would have been more of a... when Peter gets dusted. Oh, Mr. Stark. Oh, Mr. Stark. I don't want to go. I don't... I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. Oh, shit. Tom Holland was like, I'm going for my Academy Award here. Here we go. Anyway, but now we look back, here we are now 5 years later, and the MCU hasn't reached that peak, that high. It hasn't reached that high since the first 10 years in the MCU, since we ended with Endgame in 2019. Really, if you look at the movies that came out since Endgame, we had Black Widow. That technically was between Civil War and Infinity War in terms of the movie setting, but it still came out after Endgame. That was alright, and then it wasn't the movie that we all have been waiting for a Black Widow movie. Shang-Chi. And I like the villain in Shang-Chi. The action scenes are good. For some reason, every time I watch that movie, I can't get through the third act. I don't know why. I just always tend to stop the movie and stop watching it. Don't ask me. Not to mention, I've only watched it maybe twice since it came out 3 years ago. Almost. Not to mention, we don't even know when we're going to get another Shang-Chi film. There's been no announcement. Nothing. The character hasn't even shown up in any other movies. It's been 3 years. What's going on? Then we had Eternals. I think one of the worst MCU movies. They were going to make a sequel before the movie came out, but there's been zero on that. Getting a sequel. Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, you can consider that a win. It made $2 billion almost. It was well received, but in my opinion, it's still not the best Spider-Man movie of Tom Holland's. I would say Spider-Man Homecoming. The first half of that movie was all uneven. Where Peter has been outed as Spider-Man. Okay, we're gonna arrest him, we're gonna bring in a lawyer and everything's gonna go away. Huh? And, it doesn't get better until we get to the last hour of the movie where Green Goblin, William Dafoe, finally turns on Peter, attacks him, kills his aunt, and then we get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and then the rest of the movie is awesome. So really half of that movie is great. The first half is so-so. So that means not the best Spider-Man movie. Then we had Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I don't think it was as good as the first Doctor Strange. Even though they brought in Sam Raimi, you have Elizabeth Olsen going dark, villain, Scarlet Witch. That movie didn't work completely for me. And I think with most people. Thor, Love, and Thunder. Wow. You guys try to make it like a straight up comedy. Not good. Not good at all. Don't know if we're even going to get another Thor movie. Not to mention, let's go back to Spider-Man. Your movie almost makes $2 billion. We have yet to see another Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home. It only took 2 years in between. Spider-Man Far From Home and Spider-Man No Way Home would have taken only 2 years, but because of the pandemic, it moved it to at least the end of that year, 2021, so it was only 2.5 years. Yeah. We are almost 3 years since the last Spider-Man movie, and still not even an official release date, announcement, filming, casting. We still don't even know if Tom Holland is officially on board. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like the Thor Love and Thunder? Black Panther Wakanda Forever? The dumbest decision they made with that movie was just recast T'Challa. Chadwick Boseman, yes, he was very good in the role. But if you look at how much we actually saw Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, very little. He had one solo movie. He was only in half of Infinity War. He was only in the final battle of Endgame, and even that, he wasn't the main focus. It was everybody. And he showed up in Civil War, where he made his introduction. So if you want to say 2.5 true showings, you should have recast him. And that hurt the movie because it was just like, we don't care. There's no real Black Panther in this movie. And the villain didn't turn out as strong as we all wanted. And, it was okay. I haven't gone back and watched that since. Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man Quantumania. Oh boy. Wow. I thought Ant-Man 2 wasn't that great. You just know how to do it, Marvel. You didn't like Ant-Man 2? We're gonna give you Ant-Man 3. Fuck you. Yeah, Ant-Man 3 is another one. What were you doing? Okay. Here's the problem with Ant-Man 3. Very simple. You say your next big bad, the next Thanos, the next motherfucker like him over there is gonna be Thanos. The next Thanos is gonna be Kang, the Conqueror. Hoorah! We are introduced to Kang in the Loki TV series, Season 1. Loki defeats Kang, a variant. Then we're going to see him in Ant-Man 3. Ant-Man, one of the C-level characters. Not even an A, not even a B. C-level. He's lower than Iron Man. And really, Iron Man in the comics is B-level. And Ant-Man and a bunch of ants defeat Kang. Why would anybody want to see this villain as the big bad if ants can defeat this guy? Thanos beat Hulk. Angry Hulk. Thanos killed Loki. Thanos wiped out planets. He's a threat. That's why right now we really don't know who the main villain is now. Is it still Kang? Or because of Jonathan Majors, we don't know. Is it going to be Doctor Doom? Is it going to be Galactus? We are 5 years into post-Endgame. We are already in Phase 5. Phase 4 was a... Phase 5 we still don't know. In the 5 years, we haven't gotten another Avengers movie. In the 5 years, we still don't know who the big bad is. In the first 5 years of the MCU, we had Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America the First Avenger, The Incredible Hulk, and an Avengers movie, and Iron Man 3 in the first 5 years. We had 3 Iron Man movies in the first 5 years? But wait, there's more. At the end of the Avengers movie, we learn who the big bad is in the entire universe. Thanos. At the end credit scene, that guy in the helmet turns, face side view, face camera, smiles. Oh shit, it's Thanos. Then we had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 after Ant-Man. To me, that has been the best movie so far in these since Endgame. But is it the best Guardians movie? No. But it's been the best MCU movie since Endgame. And we don't know what's going to happen with the Guardians of the Galaxy after that one. A lot of them have, split apart now. Moving on. Then we had the Marvels. Oh shit. That was bad. I don't know about you, but I feel like in the past 5 years, I have never had the movie theater experience like I had going to see both Infinity War and Endgame, where you got the whole crowd in the theater responding, whether it's they're laughing at a funny joke, whether it's the all moments of the action, whether it's the surprise cameos that we see, like Red Skull showing up, whether it's the oh my god moment of the snap happening, or in an Endgame when they go to get Thanos and Thor just loses it and cuts off Thanos' head, and you're like, oh my god, what? I still remember the entire audience gasping. And then it's not over yet. Then we wait, and then it goes to black. And then they wait, and then they wait. And it's just 5 years later. And everyone's like, everyone in the theater gasped at that moment. And then you have all those moments that, like I said, the last time I felt like we had that truly communal theater, everyone in the theater reacting the right way, and not just one person, not just two, the entire theater, was probably Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, where even though, if you read the book, you knew what was going to happen in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, but it was those other moments, those moments that even in the book we knew we've been waiting to see on the big screen, like Hermione and Ron finally kissing, or the scene where Mrs. Weasley, attacks Bellatrix Lestrange, and it's like, yes! And obviously at the end with Harry and Voldemort fighting, and then the whole epilogue, and then almost crying at the end when it was all over. We realized there's no more Harry Potter movies. Now some people might say, yeah, well, actually, Matt, that little movie called Spider-Man No Way Home, at least in the theater, some people might say in the theater that I was in, when we seen Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up, everyone in the theater was cheering. Yes, I mean, that was just one moment though. It's not like in Infinity War throughout the movie. And there was a lot of funny moments in No Way Home also. But for someone like me, most people already knew that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were going to show up in Spider-Man No Way Home. You don't have William Dafoe, Alfred Molina, and Jamie Foxx from other universes show up and not have the Spider-Men from their specific universes showing up either. That would have been a huge disappointment. So it was a foregone conclusion that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were going to show up. It was. And not that I didn't enjoy that moment when it happened, but it was just one moment that if all you had to do was go on the internet and you would have found out that, yeah, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to show up in the movie. But even that just one moment in the movie, there still has not been a movie where throughout the entire movie, there are those moments that the entire crowd is laughing, or is shocked, or is awe-inspired, or just, whoa, what's going to happen now? Or crying at the end when Iron Man, I am Iron Man. So, we are in a state of, we don't know what's going on in the MCU. Marvel reached its peak. You could argue that ever since the first Iron Man, when Tony Stark stood up at the conference at the very end and told everyone, I am Iron Man. And then at the end of Endgame, the final battle, Tony gets the gauntlet on his hand, he brings his fingers up and goes, I am Iron Man. And as soon as he did that, everybody in the audience knew, oh no, Tony's gonna die. And I still remember me and so many people in that theater, you heard the sniffles. You just hear that people were crying. I went back and watched this movie on Sunday or Monday, and guess what? When Iron Man dies, I was crying again in that moment. So, what is it? You gotta think, if in the 10 years between Iron Man 1 and Endgame, it's funny how we bookend those movies with the I am Iron Man line. And you gotta wonder, now that we don't have Tony Stark, now that we don't have Captain America, those were the two main faces of the MCU. Like I said, as Marvel reached its peak. After Iron Man said, I am Iron Man. Done. Finished. And you can think about it as maybe they should have ended right then and there. No more. Or maybe they should have taken a break, just like in the movie, 5 years later. Maybe we should be 5 years later, here we are. And maybe this would have been a perfect time to rejuvenate the MCU now. We've waited 5 years. You know what? You've had 5 years to really plan out the next phase or two. Maybe that's what they needed. These are the last 5 years. It ain't doing it. So yeah. Maybe they should have started with Fantastic Four and X-Men. Like now. Wait 5 years and start with them. I don't know. But let me know in the comments below. I am Iron Man.